Wait. Don't hate me just yet. I know. Putting boundaries is a very normal and healthy thing to do. But the more limits you set, the smaller your personal space gets. The more you shrink your world. And you start believing that people are mean and that the world is a hard place. So, instead of constantly putting boundaries, I'm gonna tell you what you can do instead in this video. Okay. I won't argue the fact that putting boundaries is a very healthy and important thing to do. It is essential for protecting our well-being. They help us define what we're comfortable with and ensures that others respect our personal, mental, physical, and emotional space. For example, if someone constantly disrespects your time by showing up late, putting boundaries like telling that person that you won't be waiting more than 10 minutes next time help avoiding frustration and reinforces your self-respect. Boundaries can also be life-changing in relationships by preventing toxic dynamics where one person might take advantage of another's kindness or emotional availability. And in many cases, setting boundaries is very essential in protecting us from emotional exhaustion. Think about someone who is naturally generous and always say yes to helping people.
Help me!
Without boundaries, that person can get overwhelmed, burnt out, or even resentful. By setting clear limits like dedicating certain hours in the day to helping people or learn how to say no without feeling guilty, they can regain control over their energy and their emotional balance. However, while boundaries can be very helpful, they are not always the ultimate solution. So putting boundaries every time you feel triggered, not only you limit your space where you can breathe and experience life fully, you also risk becoming someone who is difficult to connect with. When every interaction feels like a landmine and people starting to walk on eggshells around you, unsure of what might set off a reaction or a sudden life lesson about what is acceptable or not, what is okay and what is not okay. So instead of fostering meaningful relationships, you might unintentionally create distance and make it harder for others to feel at ease around you. Beyond affecting your relationships, constantly putting boundaries to avoid being triggered will shrink your world and limit your opportunities and your possibilities. If you refuse to engage in certain activities, certain environments or conversations out of fear that they might stir up some discomfort, you might unknowingly cut off yourself from experiences that could help you grow. And think about it. Every time you're putting a limit, a boundary, you are shrinking your world. You are making your world more and more smaller, and you might miss some good advice or opportunities. For example, avoiding social gatherings because certain personalities might trigger you can lead to missed opportunities for meaningful connections and useful information. Avoiding professional challenges just to avoid criticism might hold you back from advancing in your career. Even something as simple as not trying a new hobby because it reminds you of past failures could prevent you from discovering some new passion. The more you shut out discomfort, the more you shrink your life, your own life. And I get it. It feels safer this way. But is it really how you want to live your life? In the end, the more you barricade yourself from discomfort, the smaller your world becomes. At that point, your boundaries become the walls that isolate you and keep you trapped in your own discomfort rather than protect you. Okay, now, should you let people attack you and say nothing? No. or get triggered and act like nothing never happened? No, certainly not. Every time you feel triggered, there is something to learn about yourself. Something that can bring you closer to understanding why you react the way you do. Pause a second and think about it. When someone says or does something that triggers you, do you really believe that the person was trying to hurt you? Maybe you think they were being rude, but what if it wasn't the case? What if they were actually being kind, but you saw their gesture as an intrusion? Or you're disappointed because this is not what you expected from that person? Or what if they were simply being themselves without no intention of harming you? But you assign a meaning to their behavior that didn't even exist in their mind. Now, take a step back and ask yourself, why do you assume they were attacking you? What in your mind or in your body led you to believe that, led you to that conclusion? Or someone telling you something about their life and that something makes you uncomfortable and you decide to cut that person off, and now you're missing out on that person's unique perspective on subjects that matters to you. You see, it's not always about the person who triggered you. It is about your subconscious pointing you to a spot where you're carrying some unresolved hurt. When you're triggered, it's like a window opens on a deep part of yourself that's been holding on to something, even if you're not consciously aware of it. That feeling you get is your inner self trying to communicate with you, trying to show you where you need healing, where you need to be healed. And this is where it gets powerful. Instead of just brushing off the trigger or retreating behind a boundary to protect yourself, try looking inward. Ask yourself, what is really going on here? Is there a past experience that's influencing your reaction? Are there beliefs or fears that are popping up not because of this person, but because of something that you've been carrying around all this time? The moment you start digging into your own responses, you begin to unlock a deeper understanding of yourself. And this is where the healing journey begins. The journey to healing begins when you start to fully feel the emotions that arise when you are triggered. Instead of shutting them down or pushing them aside, you give yourself the space to experience them fully for the first time, I would say. And this is where it gets interesting. By sitting with those feelings, whether it's anger, hurt, frustration, or anything else, you start to uncover something much deeper. The trail that leads back to the root cause of your reaction. Follow that emotional trail. Trace it back to the source of the pain, fear, or belief that's been activated within you. What is truly going on beneath the surface? Often, the core of the pain comes from an experience in the past, something you've been carrying with you for a long time without even realizing it. And this is where shadow work comes in. Shadow work is the process of diving deep into your subconscious, shining light on the parts of yourself that have been hidden in the shadows. These are the parts that hold your unhealed wounds, your suppressed emotions, and the fears that have been buried deep within. And by bringing light, by bringing awareness to these hidden aspects, you begin to understand why you react the way you do, why you like the things you like, why you hate the things you hate, why you do what you do. And in this particular case, why certain triggers seem to have so much power over you. Once you've identified and healed the core pain or wound, the relief is immediate and profound. Usually, you cry. You should cry, because you will cry, because it's a relief. It is as if a weight has been lifted off your shoulders and especially your heart. The beautiful part is that once you're healed at that core level, the same trigger won't affect you the same way again. The emotional charge lessens, and the thing that once set you off no longer has the same power over you. Shadow work allows you to unravel these wounds, to reveal your strength, your treasures, your true self, letting you move through life with more ease, with freedom, with emotional clarity and emotional flow. The beauty of this is that these triggers are not just annoying disruptions, they are invitations to dig deeper. Every time you feel your buttons being pushed, it is an opportunity to take a closer look at yourself, to uncover what's been buried deep, what's been buried beneath the surface. But you get to choose. You choose when to dig deeper and when to put boundaries, according to what's important to you, according to where you want to free yourself and where it doesn't matter to you. And as you explore these hidden layers, you'll find that healing does not have to be that long and complicated process. It is hard, but not complicated. And you get to understand yourself and people a lot better. But listen, if you have some serious condition, some serious trauma, I suggest that you go see a specialist like a shrink or a psychiatrist, because they're the professionals. But for other things, you might try that shadow work. In fact, it can be quite freeing and give you more control over how you experience the world. So, happy healing. Bye.